Hey everybody, my name is Melvin Lim. Welcome to our brand new series, Marketing Your Property series. And in this series, we seek to answer questions that will help you when it comes to putting up your property for sale in the resale market. And to kickstart today's first episode, we're going to answer this hot question: will home tour videos really help me when selling my property? Alright, and I get asked this question multiple times throughout my career, and yes, it definitely does, because if home tour videos are not effective, then PropertyLimBrothers would not have gone ahead to produce more than 400 of our signature home tour videos for our clients, and it has already formed the core part of our strategy when it comes to marketing our clients' properties. I know a lot of people are probably asking like, hey, is it really worth it to film a home tour video, like going through all the trouble to prepare the home, to film the video, to engage a production team and stuff like that, where probably a lot of people are already successful currently in just using the property portals? Well, of course, there has been people who have had success by just purely depending on property portals to sell their properties. But now the question we want to explore is, does just depending purely on property portals truly bring out the true value and potential of your property? Now, don't get me wrong, now at PropertyLimBrothers, we still utilize the property portals to a great extent because it is still a very reliable form of search engine tool whereby buyers search and find the listings that suits their own criteria. However, the shortfall is that buyers probably will only have reference on a couple of photographs, short description, and then a couple of key facts of the property itself, and they have to sift through probably about 70 to 80,000 listings in a particular property portal itself. And because of the fact that a property is an immovable product, the amount of attraction that you need to create will be very important as part of your marketing campaign. And you need to have enough attraction factors for your buyers to create time and effort and energy to spend time on their precious weekends to travel down and view your physical product itself, which is your property that you're trying to sell. And at PropertyLimBrothers, we have deduced that one of the best methods is to create a compelling and interesting video content, because with that way, you can then bring your property to where your buyers potentially are, which is on their smartphone. Now, because this episode is going to be slightly longer, so what we are going to do is that we're going to break this down into two parts for you. Now, for part one, we'll talk about 3 out of the 6 reasons why we think home tours are fantastic when it comes to selling your property in the resale market. And then part 2 will continue with the other 3 reasons. So let's go to part 1 today. Now, reason number 1, the story effect. Now, when we started marketing properties about 14 years back, we started with newspaper alone on the SPH classified ads. At that time, all we can do is to post a 4-liner, probably with a logo. There's no way that we can effectively illustrate everything about a property. As a buyer, if I were to just look at a 4-liner, that is the best that I can deduce. I have to call the broker, I have to ask more questions, I have to come down physically. And thankfully, we have the rise of the portals which came into the market about 12 years back, and that allows us to put photographs of the properties, that allows us to key in descriptions of the property. And at PropertyLimBrothers, we noticed there was a shift in the market which happened probably about 5 to 6 years back, when everybody starts to put our attention on this device. Because of that, I think the behavior of buyers searching for properties has evolved and change. So just to give you an illustration, I recently read a book by Paul Smith. He and his wife was actually visiting an art gallery, and they saw this beautiful photograph of a pig that is swimming on the coast of an island, and the pig was half immersed into the shore waters. When he saw this photograph, he was just thinking, hey, okay, I mean, it's a pig in the shore waters, nothing special about it. But when the photographer called Chris came by at the art gallery, and he shared with them the story of how this photograph evolved, and the main reason was because back in the early days, these pigs were actually on the shore, but fishermen on their boats, they actually saw that the pigs were there, and then they wanted to feed them, and so they throw their food into the water itself. And the pigs over the years started to learn how to swim because they want to get to the food. And because of that, that island now is named as the Pigs Island. And you get to see a lot of pigs hovering around on the shore waters, and that's like a miraculous image because pigs by themselves do not know how to swim. After Paul and his wife heard this story, they loved the photograph, and then they just instantly bought it. So that's just one illustration of how a story behind the photograph actually helps the buyers to make a decision, and it just makes the photograph much more appealing. There is a reason that for them to want to own this product. I think stories are great, and property by itself if it is just left on the portals with a photograph and description, I think we are probably a little bit more limited by the amount of things that we can share over there. But if we were to put it in the compelling video content, like a home tour, we instantly know that this will work because we were the first to start off with the presenter inside the home, sharing about the plus point of the home itself, putting in all the plus points of the property into the home tour. It actually allows the buyer to understand more about this property. It also allows the buyers to make a more informed decision after viewing the video home tour to know whether does this property suit them. And because of that, they can make better decisions. Buyers become more qualified as well. Everybody wins. I mean, the sellers and the buyers wins at the end. Now, reason number 2 is that we can then bring the property to the buyers and not wait for the buyers to look for us. Once the content of a home is being created, it then solves the problem of what we call a waiting game. If I were to just come into a property and then I whip out my iPhone, I take photographs of the property and then I start to put it on the portals, technically speaking, I would then have to wait. I have to wait for buyers to hopefully chance upon my property out of the 70 to 80,000 property listings. The timing is dependent on the buyer's availability. I have to wait for them to hopefully chance upon my listing and then call me and then make an appointment to view the place. Now, of course, homes can be sold in this manner. Now, the only question is, it would then be a very passive approach. We deem it as very passive marketing because I have to wait and I cannot do anything that is creative with the content. I cannot define how do I actually get this property to show as much people as possible, to have a full kind of exposure on all the possible buyers group that will possibly see and like this property. But when the content is being created, we solve the issue of the waiting game. Because technically speaking, we can then use this content, reverse engineer, think about who will like this property. What is the probable age group that will like this property? Where are all these people staying at? And then I can use this content over social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I can drop it based on a geographical targeting approach. I can then show it to these buyers over a period of time. And then if it attracts them, they will then contact us to view the place. Now, compared to the waiting game approach, this is now what we deem as a more active and a more aggressive kind of marketing campaign, which we can take action on it. We can control who and what kind of demographics of buyers that we want to show to. And a combination of the passive and the active campaign would then mean that the exposure is being expanded. Now, the third reason is because we think having a home tour expand the buyers pool, and it also help to expand buyers possibilities. Now, what do we mean by that? So if let's say I'm a buyer, I'm looking for a property, the very first thing probably what I would do is that I'll go onto the property portals. I'll start to key in all my criteria and then I will probably say, okay, I want to look for District 19. My budget is below 2 million. I need 4 bedrooms. I minimum need probably at least 1,300, 1,400 square feet. And hey, what can I buy? And based on that, probably the search result would then bring me probably about 300 to 400 different kinds of property listings, and I have to sift through one by one. This is called the filtering process, and that's all great. Now, the only thing is that could there be a blind spot that I could potentially miss out on certain properties that can probably suit my needs and my family needs, but I'm blinded probably by my own set of criteria. And that is what we mean by expanding possibilities, because when a home tour is being done, it showcases the plus points, it showcases where this property is located, which school is near to, what are kind of the possibilities that you can do with the layout, with the renovation. It potentially will help the buyer to understand, hey, probably I can consider this property at this location because probably I could be fixated by my own set of rules and criteria, and I didn't really think of this type of properties. This is what we call by expanding possibilities, and that really helps a lot because we have seen so many successful examples. And just to give you an illustration, so recently we sold this strata home at Gambier Court. This property was actually in the market for about 2 to 3 years. Our owner have switched probably 3 to 4 different agencies to help him with the sale. But the main reason that we think that probably this property was in the market for 2 to 3 years was because a lot of buyers don't even know that this was for sale, and they were just purely looking at the portals. And the moment that we launch it onto social media with the video content, within 3 months we found a buyer for our client. And this buyer, strangely, probably didn't see this property on the portals for the past 2 to 3 years. And when the buyer saw the video, the buyer asked for a viewing. When they came, they fell in love with the place, and eventually they bought the place. I think a combination of factors is really very, very important in today's market. Alright, so that's 3 of the 6 reasons why we think home tours are excellent when it comes to selling your properties in Singapore. Part 2 will be out real soon. Now in the meantime, do subscribe to our YouTube channel, click on the bell notification button to keep yourself posted of our next new content. Again, my name is Melvin Lim from PropertyLimBrothers, and we hope to see you soon.